Ebullient greetings. I'm your host, Jacquie Bird of Jacquie Bird Spiritual Wellness, your guide to stress and anxiety relief, mindfulness, awareness, self-care, self-love, and personal growth. Welcome and thank you for joining me as we roll with peace in mind. Greetings, beautiful people. Today's riff is Claiming Your Calm, practical tips for inner peace. And the first thing I'm going to say is visit my website and come to my online session, my online class for the new year. That is January 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That information is in the description. So wishing you a prosperous, abundant, healthy, joyous, and fill in the blanks 2026. So as I said, today's riff is Claiming Your Calm, practical tips for inner peace. First one was take my online workshops. And one thing I have learned is that you have got to claim your calm. Ain't nobody gonna give it to you or do it for you. Not your loved ones, lovers, children, or parents. Not your job, vocation, career, or obsession. Calm is a well that flows within. As you learn to access that well, you begin to be able to tap into it at will. So, how exactly do you claim your calm? What are some practical tips for connecting to inner peace? Happily, there are many roads to this beautiful state of being. Yoga, immersing in nature, meditating, dancing, and doing things you love are avenues. Inner peace can be more readily available when you're in a relaxed and joyous state of mind. What's more challenging is being in that space in the midst of getting things done, being stuck in traffic, sitting on a crowded train, children screaming, parents screaming, whatever. That's when it's really, really challenging. But you gotta practice before you get in the stress situations, the high stress situations. So, chopping garlic, a lesson in being present. One day, while chopping garlic and extremely focused on getting it done, I began to wonder, how many times a day is that our mindset? Get it done, get it done, get it done, just get it done, get done, so I can move on to the next thing and get that done and the next thing done, and then. It's about checking things off that never-ending to-do list. Now that can be all and the end all, and that's usually what it is. You get up, you run through your day, you go to bed, you may sleep, you may not sleep, you get up, rinse, repeat. But how about living? Anywho, gritting my teeth in reminder of how much I just love chopping up stuff, and oh my God, how time consuming it is, it began to dawn on me to see if I could cut the garlic and implement breathing deeply at the same time. Besides getting a nose full of garlic, that decision reconfirmed that the claiming of our calm can be satiated with some mindfulness within the execution of the tasks at hand. I ended up cutting that garlic like I didn't have a care in the world or a destination to get to. And before I knew it, I was finished with that task and I was off to the next. But I had taken the time to actually chop the garlic and not think about how slow it was, how much time it was taking, what I needed to do after that. It was just cut the garlic. just cut the garlic. But I took a moment to acknowledge and savor that accomplishment and how it felt so stressless, because it wasn't about chopping the garlic, as I said, to get to the next thing. It was about chopping the garlic, period. No strings attached, no destination, no worrying about the time. The chopping of the garlic was the action and the destination. Breathe, baby, breathe. Okay, bird. But really, what are the tips? You may be going, all right, chopping garlic, yeah. All right, but what are the tips? Okay, announcement is to start with breathing. You may think, oh, please, oh, yeah, okay, but I breathe all the time. Otherwise, I'd be dead. That might be what you're thinking. Or you may go, bird, you say that all the time. And you might also be thinking, well, when I'm chopping up garlic or particularly onions, I ain't gonna be trying to breathe too deeply. Okay, yeah, that's one way to look at it. But if you want to be able to access inner peace and claim your calm, you want to consider putting more conscious deep breathing into your day. You may not do it while you're cutting up garlic or onions. Okay, but where in your day will you, not can you, will you make the time for conscious deep breathing? And what I mean when I say conscious is that you intentionally make and take the time to do this. That you feel each breath as it moves into and out of the body. That you hear the soft sound. That you feel the relief and reset. When you stop to take a deep breath and let it out slowly, it's like putting a mental vacuum cleaner into use. It clears things up and gives you a bit of space to focus, hear your intuition, and to take better action. It helps you to be more proficient and efficient with what you have to do or say. And you may think, oh, I have too much stuff to be trying to make time to breathe deeply. You may actually find that you are more productive as a result of taking that moment to breathe deeply and consciously and just give yourself a mental health break in the course of your day. Now, another tip is becoming more aware of what you think. Thought awareness. We are our own worst enemies with all the negative self-talk that sifts through our brains. When you keep an ear out on the type of thoughts you think, you begin to gain control. You cannot be in the inner peace well with runaway thoughts. You just can't do it. The runaway thoughts win every time. And you become more and more and more stressed. The good news is, as you become more aware of the thoughts in your mental sphere that do not serve you and shift to thoughts that are more in alignment for where you want to be, the more of your calm you will claim. This allows you to be the master of the ship as opposed to being a passenger hurled every which way the wind blows. When you can redirect or pivot thinking patterns that go off in another direction than the one you want, your vibe changes in a big way. And it's so incredibly empowering. And the thing about this is, the two things I just told you about paying attention to what you're thinking and taking deep breaths, absolutely free. Absolutely free, costs you nothing. You don't even have to download an app for that. Ask yourself questions to point you to inner peace is another tip. Grab a pen and paper. Take a minute, go ahead, get that pen and paper. If you don't have anyone, if you don't have a pen and paper nearby, go ahead and open your notes app on your phone. But I will say, I have found that putting pen to paper is way more cathartic and thoughtful than typing on a screen. Number 1, are you regularly engaged in doing things you love? No? Why not? No excuses, be honest. Okay, next question, and you can always go back and finish writing the answers to the questions I'm asking you. Because some of this is not a one-liner. Some of this is going to take some deep introspection, which may not come right in the moment. Number 2, if you are not regularly engaged in doing things that you love, and the absence of abundance is the hang-up, what things would you be doing if money were not an issue? Take a moment. Come back to that if you have more to say on that. Number 3, what aspects of those things can you start to incorporate right now? Be creative. Now, you might have said, I want to travel more, but you don't have the funds to do it right now. You don't have the time to do it right now. Well, that's the beauty of the internet. Do some searching. Plan your trip. Find a place that you would want to go. Look at how much it costs to get there. Look at how much the hotels, or if you're like me and you like staying in apartments or cabins or whatever, just start pricing these things to get an idea on what it would cost. And then imagine yourself having the money and going. And you may feel like, oh, that's some beeswax, because reality is I ain't got the money and yada, yada, yada. And you know, that line of thinking will keep you right where you are. It seems a little bit of a reach to understand that you can actually visualize what it is that you want, and it comes. So if that's a reach for you at this point in your life, read other people's stories. Look at some of the celebrities that you really, really admire, or sports figures, and read about their background. Some of them came from sheer poverty, and they had the intention, and they did the visualization to envision themselves where they are right now. Good homework for you. Entertaining and inspiring to see how people's journeys have taken them from one point to another. And there'll be some folks that say, oh, you know, I didn't see any of this happening. Okay. Yeah. But there are going to be people that said, I planned this from the time I was a child. I knew I was going to be famous. Pay attention to those stories in particular. The folks that tell you they knew they were going to be right where they are because they saw it, not psychically. They had it in their mind. This was their intention. This was their visualization, that they were going to enjoy the abundant fruits of life in a big bunch. Read stories like that. And then in your own sphere of life, as I said, be creative. Maybe there's a business you've always wanted to start. Maybe you have wanted to be a writer. Begin to do those things, or make the plans for them, make the outline for them. If there's a story you want to tell and you don't have the story fully formed in your mind, sit down and write an outline of what you do have. Because when you do that, that spurs more ideas, more inspiration, more motivation, all of that. But you got to get going. You got to get started. You got to be creative. So the things that you want, if it's abundance or prosperity, see yourself having it. Claiming your calm. Claim, claim, claim. Number 4, maybe you hate your job or career and have dreams of doing something else. What steps can you take right now toward your desires? And it's pretty much what I just said in terms of beginning to visualize what it is that you want. And it does start as a thought. You may think, oh, it's just daydreaming. I used to do it as a kid. Well, thoughts have power. Visions have power. Trust. Number 5, is there a hobby you used to do as a child or wanted to do that could bring you joy right now? I have a friend who took up crochet, and she says it helps her to calm and soothe her like crazy, helping her to tap into the inner peace well. So even if it's something you used to do and you don't think you can do it, pick it up again. Learn how to do it again. Or if there's something that you have always wanted to do as a hobby, go ahead and start doing that. Because when you are in your joy, that is the opening. That is the door. That is the window. That's the stream that puts you in the framework and in the well of flow. Number 6, are there people in your life that drain you? And I'm sure you could probably think of a few that came to mind immediately with that question. Are there people in your life that drain you? And it's not so much that you need to write down the names. You already know who them folk are. So the question is, other than that, or in addition to that, is what can you do to mitigate this? What are the things that you can change in your behavior and or approach in dealing with them? Tip: saying no when you mean no instead of saying yes is a good place to start. You may have that friend that calls you up and they always got a problem and they always come to you for advice because you always come up with things that they're like, oh man, that's a good idea. Some of them may do what you suggest. Some of them may not do what you suggest ever. And they call you anyway. And you're like, why is this person calling me? Because they never implement any of the things that I suggest. Well, you can't change them, but you can change your behavior. Maybe the next time the person calls, you just listen. You don't offer up anything. You just listen. And the main thing is that you don't sit on the phone listening for an hour. You cut the conversation. Oh, I hear the garlic. I gotta go chop it or whatever. Get off the phone. If you're texting back and forth with somebody and it takes like 50, forever because they ask you all these questions or they're telling you their life story. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta go. Don't ghost them. Don't not respond to their text. Respond. Be courteous. But don't spend a whole lot of time on a person that is draining you. And eventually, you'll be able to step away from them. But again, you have to change your behavior, how you respond. And trust me, that energy vampire may not appreciate you cutting them off in terms of, I gotta go, or saying no when they ask you to do something that you always say yes to, but you're like, I hate doing it, so this time I'm gonna say no. They ain't gonna necessarily dig that. You cannot be in fear of what they may or may not say, or how they may or may not treat you. You have to be your best friend, and you have to look out for yourself. That is part of claiming your inner calm. And the next thing is simplify, simplify, simplify. We make things so complicated. We're often not happy unless tons of mental stuff is blowing around inside our heads. The other thing is we have so much stuff, things we don't need. Simplifying, letting go of stuff both mentally and possession-wise, clears a path to the claiming of your calm. And it can be so hard simplifying because sometimes we're afraid to let go of things we think we may need later. I remember many years ago when going through a turbulent divorce, I held on to our house even though being there put me in danger. My friends were screeching for me to move out, but I wouldn't. I wasn't going to give up my house. I spent all this time and energy on this house and investing in this house, and I'm not going to let him make me lose my house, and I'm not going to. Well, guess what? The universe stepped in, and after a few years, and yes, it was a few years, we lost the house. I did eventually move beforehand, though, but we lost the house. Anyway, now, instead of feeling destroyed, which is what I kept telling myself, when I got the news that the marshal had slapped that eviction notice on the door, I was actually relieved. It was over. The long fight to hold on to something was over. Less baggage on my back. I was free to begin the healing journey. A lot of times we make excuses. If I let this go, this is going to happen. And if I do that. If it's causing you grief, it's not worth it. Very simple. If it's causing you grief, it's not worth it. Now, not as simple is to actually let the thing go. But if you make the decision to do so, you will do it. And the practical tips in summary are implementing the tips I have mentioned will definitely begin to raise your vibration. If you don't already have a meditation practice, that is definitely something to include in your toolkit. Now, I know meditation is challenging for many, but you've come to the right place. I have a plethora of tools, including a book, guided meditation tracks, music. I also create custom meditation audio. So be sure to drop into my shop. Put in an order for your very own custom audio. And I remember I was talking to someone, I was selling my books. I'm kind of digressing a little bit. I was selling my books at a market, and this chick came by and she was looking through my book, and she just was like kind of sneering, like, oh, it's a book, nobody reads anymore. And she looks through the book and she says, well, why should I get that? I have everything on my app. And, I said, well, it's not what I'm selling. It's not a book. It doesn't have pretty pictures. It's not tactile. It's not something that you feel. It's not something that you experience. It's something you hear. And I know a lot of people feel that way. Oh, I have an app. I don't need to. Well, and I know in this whole thing of AI and everybody's doing AI, or everybody's talking about doing it or thinking about doing it or scared to do it or whatever, that's going to replace humans. We're human. It is not a replacement for human. When you receive a guided meditation, be it online, be it in person, there is an energy. And when I say online, I'm talking about something that is specific in terms of the practitioner. Because some people are doing it because it gets their views up and, they want to monetize and all of that. But I'm talking about authenticity here. So if you are working with someone over a period of time, it's no different than working with a therapist, a doctor, in the sense of this is somebody that is invested in your well-being. That is an energy and an ingredient that is extremely, extremely important. So keep that in mind as you move forward in this whole technology age. So back, because I digressed a little bit. Here's a summary list of Claim Your Calm, practical tips for inner peace. Number 1, deep breathing. Conscious, deep breathing. Actually connect to your breath. Feel your body. Feel the sensation of the breath moving into and out of you. Feel your body and muscles letting go. It's an immersive activity. It's an immersive experience. Number 2, be present. Do things for the sake of doing them, not as a means to an end. And this is actually a form of meditation. Number 3, take inner inventory. Get clear on who and what you're about and move forward. Number 4, be aware. What kind of stuff do you feed yourself mentally? Even if you only have snatches of moments of awareness, that's a start, especially if you're aware that you're being aware. Number 5, say no when you mean no. Say no when you mean no. It may be hard at first, but practice makes perfect and it becomes easier. Child, I love saying no. Be that 2-year-old that you used to be. No, no. Honey, they'll say no in a heartbeat. Say no. That can be one of the best gifts you give yourself. If you're a yes person and you're doing stuff that you don't really want to do, but you're afraid of how somebody's going to respond or react, or you may not be part of the club and the in people and the people, the influencers and all this other stuff. If you say no to something, there's an event and you don't feel like going, but I should show up. Say no. It's freeing. Number 6, simplify. Simplify and clear out stuff you don't need or want. In other words, things that don't serve you one whit. Let go of the you don't need. Child, I have been holding a pair of pants. I have been holding, I don't know how many pair of jeans because I was like, oh, Miss Thing, we gonna get back in the pants. Please, one day I looked at those pants. I said, girlfriend, you ain't never getting back in the pants. And if you do, you'll just buy new ones. So let them go. Give them to somebody that can actually get in them right now and can use them and benefit from them. And when you start working on these things, deep breathing, being present, taking inner inventory, being aware, saying no when you mean no, and simplifying, enjoy that inner peace. Being able to claim your calm and connect to your inner peace is so important for your mental and physical health. Something to cultivate in our daily lives, and even in the midst of chaos, you will have access to your ever-present well. Thank you for listening. Remember to visit my website, Jacquie Bird Spiritual Wellness, for more tips and tools, for products and services. Book me for a guided meditation online, in person. Show up to my online workshops. Connect to self. And remember to roll with peace in mind.